BookTube, it's Angie. I know it's been a minute since I've made a video, and sorry about that, but I will explain. And I know you are probably looking at this going, silly girl, we've already had St. Patrick's Day. And to you, I say, I know. Like, half my family is Irish. We know when the day is. And I did think about making a video on St. Patrick's Day, because I had the silly hat for it and everything. But, you want to hear about my St. Patrick's Day? Let me tell you about my St. Patrick's Day. It's not like traumatic or anything. It was just, at the end of the day, it was kind of exhausting and it ate up my filming energy. So the day before St. Patrick's Day was like one of the first days we've had that's been nice here. We've had almost 3 months straight of nearly every day being snow, rain, or some other kind of storm in our faces. And where our house sits, we have one of the most wooded lots in our neighborhood, and so every year is this big chore, kind of all year, but really late fall into winter up to like early spring. It's kind of a full-time job to keep the branches away because we have a ton of trees in our backyard. But it's been storming so much, I haven't been able to get out there and clean them up, and my husband's working all the time, so he's not here to do it. So it's just been building up, and I finally got a day where I could get out there and clean it up, and it took a good majority of the day, and I've been cooped up in the house all winter, so those tree hauling, breaking down muscles, were not quite there anymore, and so those kind of got a shock back into use. So I was really sore from that, and then on St. Patrick's Day, it was again really nice, and we have this tree in our side yard that I really like, but it's got this ivy vine wrapped around it, and it's been there for a little while, and we were looking at it again through all these storm days saying, as soon as it clears up, we have to take that off, otherwise it's going to kill that tree. Well, all the snow and the rain has been feeding that vine, so it got bigger and we couldn't get to it until on St. Patrick's Day. It was nice enough to go outside and start cleaning it up, and I thought it was going to be a quick little, oh, we'll just trim the vine off. No. That thing had gotten, some of its branches had gotten almost as big as some of the branches of the tree in diameter, and it turned into an all-day chore of me at the base of the tree trying to unwind the branches, and my husband up on a ladder trying to get up into the tree to get the branches that were wrapped around the tree, and it's a big old thing. By the time we got done, we were just sore and dirty, and the tree looks great now. I think we'll be able to save the tree, but it was a chore. There wasn't energy to do anything after that. It was pretty rough. So to make up for the fact that I didn't have any energy to film for you guys on St. Patrick's Day, I thought I would look up a St. Patrick's Day tag video to do, because I figured there's one. There seems to be a tag video for pretty much anything. So I did find one, and I figured I would do that and get a video up so that you guys don't start thinking this is a defunct channel. I am still here. I just, we get caught up in stuff from time to time. So, still here, and let's get into the tag video. You may have seen a few other people this year doing this. This one's, I think it's been around for a while, but this is the Kiss Me I'm Irish tag. It was originally put together by Snogging On Sunday Books. I will try to track down the original video and post it below, but let's jump in. Okay, so green. Pick a book with a green cover. So I just said James Dashner's The Maze Runner. Easy enough. Blarney, book that deceived you into liking it or was overhyped and you ended up disliking it. I was this close to picking a book that I think would have brought shockwaves across my viewers, because the book I initially thought of was The Fault in Our Stars, because everybody liked that book. Everybody raved about that book. And I read it and I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was the brilliant piece of work that everybody makes it out to be. It was good, but I wasn't like jaw on the floor blown away by it. So I almost picked that one. which I guess technically I just told you about it, so I guess kind of it's on this list now. But I ended up going with The Circus in Winter by Kathy Day. This is a collection of short stories. And I picked this one because it's short stories, and I originally found this book before I was really getting into short stories. I had kind of put it in my head that I wasn't a short story girl because I didn't have good experiences with it. But this one, it was about the circus, and I'm a sucker for anything that has to do with the circus, carny life, anything like that. I eat those kind of books up. I looked on the back of this and saw from 1884 to 1939, the Great Porter Circus. I was like, oh my gosh, and it's like my favorite period of circus history. So I like the old-timey circus stuff. But this is a collection of short stories that follows people that are attached to this circus. And I went into it kind of hesitantly because I'm like, oh, it's about a circus, but it's also short stories. So I wasn't really expecting to like it that much. I just thought it might be kind of cool. I ended up loving this book. This was one of the big books that got me into really trying short stories for real and not just dismissing them. So pick that one for that. Brogue. Pick a book where a character has an accent. Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough takes place in Australia, so take your pick on the characters. Leprechaun. Book you enjoyed when you were a little person. I have The 11th Hour by Graham Base. I think that's how you say his name. This is actually the book my grandmother gave me on my 11th birthday. It's been through a few moves with me, but I absolutely love this book. If you're not familiar with Graham Base's work, I believe he's Australian. Well, he's born in England, lives in Australia, but he is a children's illustrator and writer. And the thing I love about his books is he is not only an amazing illustrator, but he hides all these little things within the pictures, and they're tiny and really detailed. And I mean, the artwork itself could be paintings. I mean, they're gorgeous. But he writes these stories that have little mysteries within them for kids to figure out. And I have one of his other books here. I don't find his books very often, but when I do, I try to grab them. And the only other one I have in my collection is Enigma. But this is very similar in style, where the books tend to come with a thing in the back where you have to try to work out the mystery in the book, and then there's like a file in the back that tells you whether you're right or not. But in the meantime, you have all these amazing illustrations and little things. Like, he hides stuff within the borders and in like little tiny corners of the books. But this is the one that got me started on it. My grandma gave this to me on my 11th birthday. And the thing about this book is I never cracked to this day, this thing has not been opened. The thing that gives you all the answers. I don't know, I just feel weird opening it. I like that it's still a mystery. Not really, because I've been able to read in between the sheets, but it's just weird. Anyway, that was my book from when I was a wee person. Pot of Gold cost you a lot or is of great value to you. And for this, I picked Neil Patrick Harris's Choose Your Own Autobiography, my signed copy. I paid full price for this book, which I almost never do, but when I went to Barnes & Noble, this was the only signed copy they had in their stack, and I'm a big fan of his, so I sucked it up and paid full price, which was $26. And the majority of my books come from thrift sales and library discards and book outlet clearance books, that kind of thing. So for me to pay full price on a hardback is a big deal for me. So I went with that. 4-Leaf Clover, current or past favorite series. And so probably this is going to date me a little bit, but oh well, I don't care. I picked one of my favorite series from when I was a kid. I don't know how many of you remember this from the 90s, but I have the Wishbone series. This, I believe it was on PBS, and it was this series that had this little bitty dog. It was an actual dog that they used in the series, and he reenacted classic literature, and then they started making it into books, and it helped kids learn classic lit, but through the eyes of this dog being the main character in all the stories. I don't have the full series here because, again, this is one that I sort of fill in as I find them, so I'm missing a bunch in here, but the ones I do have is I have Be a Wolf, which I believe was Beowulf, Salty Dogs, Robinson Crusoe, The Prince and the Pooch, Prince and the Pauper. Oh, that one's Robinson. What was that one? Oh, Salty Dog was Treasure Island. Sorry. Robin Hound Crusoe. This show was so adorable. Digging Up the Past. This is Rip Van Winkle. The Mutt in the Iron Muzzle, or The Man in the Iron Mask. Moby Dog, Moby Dick. Tom Sawyer. It's just Adventures of Tom Sawyer, dressed as a dog. And The Last of the Breed, which is a take on The Last of the Mohicans. And I absolutely adored that show when I was a kid, and got so excited when I found out as a kid that they were coming out with books. And I still love these books, so I went with that. And let's see, magic. Book you found magical or had a magical element you enjoyed. First one that came to mind was The Night Circus. I absolutely loved this book with the magic the characters had and the fact that it takes place in a circus. It was a win-win for me. What's the other one? Kiss. Current or all-time OTP. I had to think about this for a minute because while I can like romances in books, it's rare that I get a couple that I'm like, oh, about. I tend to like, oh, that's cute, and then I'm over it. So I was trying to think of one that I will always be rooting for, and I had to go with Beauty and the Beast because it's my favorite fairy tale and my favorite couple, so I went with that. And let's see, luck. Book you will, with any luck, get to someday. And I had to think about this because I kind of feel that way about all of my TBR. But this one is one that was staring me in the face when I was looking at my shelves, and that is The Memoirs of Cleopatra by Margaret George. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with anything that had to do with Egypt, ancient Egypt, mummies, the kings and queens of Egypt, anything in like ancient Egypt history, totally ate up. I'm not quite as rabidly obsessed with it as I was as a kid, but it's still a period that fascinates me. And this is a novel based on the life of Cleopatra. And I put this one as my luck one because it is kind of a chunker. I believe it's like, oh man, I thought this one, I was gonna say, I think it's like around 800 pages. This one is actually closer to 1,000. It's like 964 pages. So yeah, with any luck, I may get to this one today. And if I like this one, the girl wrote 2 more books. One about Mary, Queen of Scots, and one of Henry VIII, which I'm guessing are probably around the same size. What's left? Oh, jig. Book that you don't currently own, but you would dance a jig if you got it. And there are a few of those. This is kind of obscure because I don't know that a lot of people read her, but there's a non-fiction writer. I think she's, I want to say she's Iranian, but Azar Nafisi came out with a new book that I would like to have because I've loved all her other ones. The Lord of the Rings set that is like leatherette bound. I think it's leatherette, but they're like smaller compact versions, but they're so pretty because they have that floppy bendy leather covers, and it's the whole series in a box set. So that's another one I've been eyeing. There's a book called Rook by Sharon Cameron. Doesn't come out till this April, but I am just in love with the cover already. That will definitely largely be a cover buy, but the storyline also sounds really cool. And then the one I could think of, that's because I do have a vintage and antique collection, the one I could think of for that, there's a cookbook that Sophia Loren came out with in 1972, I believe. And it's called In the Kitchen with Love, I think is the name of it. She wrote a few of them, but it's the one that's called In the Kitchen with Love. And I just love the cover on that. Sophia Loren is like one of my big Hollywood idols. I just love everything she does, and that's one that's been on my list to track down for a long time. But all the copies I can find, I think the cheapest one I've found is like $50, and that can be hard. So yeah, if anyone sent me one of those, I would definitely be dancing around if I got a copy of one of those. So that's it, I believe. Yeah, I think that's all the questions. So yeah, I'll try to do another video here while I'm sort of in the mode, and that will be my Bookorama wrap up. And yeah, so we'll see you then. Bye guys.